With the death of Emperor Palpatine at the Battle of Endor, the galaxy erupted into chaos. While some Imperial worlds resisted change, Naboo, Palpatine's own homeworld, became one of the first planets to rise against the remnants of the Empire. No longer bound by the dictator's rule, the people of Naboo took their fate into their own hands. As news of Palpatine's death spread across the planet, celebrations broke out in the streets of Theed. The people, who had lived under Imperial rule for over 2 decades, saw an opportunity to reclaim their independence. However, Naboo was not yet free. Despite the Emperor's death, Imperial forces still occupied the planet, determined to keep it under their control. Led by Queen Sosha Saruna, Naboo's leaders took a decisive stand against the remaining Imperial forces. With the help of local resistance fighters, former members of Queen Amidala's royal court, and allies within the New Republic, the Naboo people launched a planet-wide uprising. The Royal Naboo security forces, which had been forced to serve under the Empire, turned against their Imperial commanders, reclaiming key locations such as Theed Palace, the Salé River spaceports, and plasma refineries. With the Imperial garrison outnumbered and overwhelmed, Queen Saruna declared Naboo's independence and pledged allegiance to the New Republic. The remnants of the Imperial forces either surrendered or fled, marking the first time in over 20 years that Naboo was free from outside control. However, even in death, Palpatine had not forgotten Naboo. In 5 ABY, 1 year after Endor, the New Republic's intelligence division intercepted a final act of vengeance orchestrated by the Emperor himself, Operation Cinder. This posthumous contingency plan, initiated by Imperial loyalists, was designed to punish planets that Palpatine had deemed failures, and Naboo was one of its primary targets. A fleet of Imperial star destroyers armed with climate-disrupting satellites was deployed to unleash a planet-wide environmental catastrophe. The goal was simple: render Naboo uninhabitable by creating massive electrical storms, uncontrollable hurricanes, and fire tornadoes that would wipe out its population. As the first satellites were activated, the skies above Naboo turned black, and violent storms began devastating the planet. Floods washed through the streets of Theed, while plasma storms ignited forests and farmland. Queen Saruna, desperate to save her world, sent out an urgent distress call to the New Republic. That call was answered by Princess Leia Organa, who arrived at Naboo alongside General Lando Calrissian and a fleet of New Republic fighters. Working with Saruna and surviving members of Naboo's defense forces, Leia led a daring counterattack against the Imperial fleet. The battle was intense, with Naboo's defenders outgunned and outnumbered. The Royal Security Forces launched a last stand in Theed, while New Republic pilots fought in orbit to destroy the satellites before the storm systems became permanent. Leia, using her force sensitivity, piloted a Naboo starfighter and personally led an assault on the star destroyers, ensuring that the New Republic forces could break through. In the final moments of the battle, the New Republic forces successfully destroyed the satellites, and the Imperial fleet was forced to retreat. Though Naboo had suffered damage from the storms, it had survived Palpatine's last attempt to destroy it. With Operation Cinder defeated, Naboo officially became a full member of the New Republic, helping to rebuild the galactic government from the ashes of the Empire. Queen Saruna oversaw the planet's recovery and reconstruction, ensuring that Naboo's future remained one of peace and resilience. Despite everything it had endured, invasion, war, dictatorship, and near destruction, Naboo had once again proven its strength. It was no longer just the birthplace of an emperor, but a symbol of resistance, survival, and hope. The First Order conflict and final liberation, 34 AB to 35 AB. For nearly 3 decades, Naboo flourished as a peaceful and influential member of the New Republic. With the Empire defeated, the planet experienced a golden era of reconstruction, diplomacy, and cultural revival. The wounds left by Imperial occupation in Operation Cinder gradually healed, and Naboo once again became a beacon of democracy and prosperity. However, despite the peace that followed the fall of the Empire, a new shadow was rising in the unknown regions, one that would once again threaten Naboo and the entire galaxy. By 34 ABY, the remnants of the Galactic Empire had reorganized into a new force, the First Order. This militarized regime, secretly orchestrated by Supreme Leader Snoke and the reborn Emperor Palpatine, sought to reclaim the power once held by the Empire. The New Republic, believing that war had ended with the fall of the Empire, failed to take the growing threat seriously. Naboo, like many Republic worlds, remained unprepared for the devastation that was to come. The turning point came with the destruction of the Hosnian system, the seat of the New Republic's government, by Starkiller Base. With the New Republic's capital annihilated and its fleet obliterated, chaos erupted across the galaxy. The First Order swiftly launched its campaign of conquest, seizing control of key mid-rim and core worlds in rapid succession. Naboo, despite its historical importance, was not immediately occupied, but it was left vulnerable without the New Republic's protection. As fear spread across the planet, Senator Rio Barranco, Naboo's representative in the New Republic Senate, attempted to rally a defensive response. However, with the New Republic's leadership shattered, there was little coordination between remaining member worlds. Naboo, like many other planets, was left to defend itself with limited military resources. In 35 ABY, Naboo's fears became reality when the First Order moved to occupy the planet. With little resistance, they established military control over Theed, installing an Imperial governor to enforce their rule. Curfews were imposed, anti-First Order rhetoric was outlawed, and suspected resistance sympathizers were imprisoned. While Naboo was not devastated like other conquered worlds, it once again found itself under the rule of an oppressive regime. However, unlike during the Galactic Empire's rise, Naboo was not willing to remain passive. Underground resistance movements quickly formed, inspired by the legacy of Queen Amidala and the rebellion against the Empire. Members of the Royal Naboo Security Forces, alongside local militia groups, began staging sabotage operations against First Order patrols. Their efforts intensified as news spread that the Resistance had survived. When word reached Naboo that Leia Organa and the Resistance had launched their final battle against the First Order on Exegol, the people of Naboo saw their chance to rise once again. As the Resistance launched its final assault, Naboo's resistance fighters led a planet-wide uprising, striking Imperial strongholds, disabling communication hubs, and storming First Order command centers. The people of Naboo overthrew the occupying forces in a coordinated insurrection. Without reinforcements from the collapsing First Order fleet, the Imperial governor surrendered, marking Naboo's final liberation from tyranny. With the First Order defeated at Exegol and Palpatine truly dead, Naboo was finally free from the long shadow of the Sith. After years of oppression, war, and political manipulation, Naboo had emerged as a symbol of resilience and defiance. With peace restored, Naboo's leaders turned their focus toward rebuilding, preserving their culture, and ensuring that the mistakes of the past would never be repeated. No longer just the birthplace of an emperor, Naboo had cemented itself as a world of courage, unity, and hope for the future of the galaxy.